You're watching Reality Check. Tonight, the appalling and dangerous rise of targeted attacks in Kashmir, mostly against non-Muslim minorities. In the past 6 days, 7 people have been killed. The latest, 2 school teachers, Supundar Kaur, a school principal, and also a Sikh, Deepak Chand, the Hindu school teacher. Both of them taught at a government school in Srinagar's Eidgah area. Their families and co-workers convulsed by grief. Their deaths come just days after the killing of a much-loved pharmacist, M.L. Bindru, who belongs to the Kashmiri Pandit community, bringing back terrible memories of the early 90s when the rise of militancy resulted in an ethnic purge of sorts, with the mass outward exodus of thousands of non-Muslims from the Kashmir Valley. The violence has also led to hard questions being asked of the government, which has made much of how its moves to scrap J&K's special status and bring it increasingly under the proxy rule of New Delhi has led to a drop in militancy. The Lieutenant Governor today said that no one will be spared and that scores will be settled.
आतंकवाद के सरगना जो यहाँ हैं या उस पार बैठे हैं, मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस, जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस और पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस ये पूरी तरह चौकस रहेंगी। साफ टारगेट दे करके कुछ निरपराध और निर्दोष लोगों का खून जो आपने बहाया है, मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि किसी को भी बख्शा नहीं जाएगा और बहुत जल्द हिसाब चुकता किया जाएगा।
My colleague Nazir Massoudi spoke to a top police official in Srinagar who said the killings are the work of a relatively recent terror outfit called the Resistance Front, considered a fringe group of the LET, which is attempting to drive a wedge between communities.
There are some modules working on behalf of some agencies in Pakistan. They are working for TRF under the umbrella of TRF, and TRF, as you know, is being run from Karachi. We know some of very important clues have already come to police, and we are working on them. We'll be very soon able to expose this nexus of agencies across and the TRF or the other terror outfits working.
So what explains this sudden and worrying spike? I asked Dr. Farooq Abdullah, former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir and leader of the National Conference. I began by asking him whether he'd ever seen anything like this in recent times.
Thank you for talking to me. There's no doubt that it is escalating, and I think basically this is worrying for all of us. I think after so many years, we've had some peace and tourism has picked up, and this is going to set us back, which is a big tragedy. I think Government of India must look into it very seriously. That is, why is it happening? Why? Is there the policies of theirs that are affecting these things? I do not know, because no one knows. How is this happening?
Yeah.
When on one side they say everything is all right, honky-dory, and on the other side the innocent people are dying. Yesterday you saw how Makhanlal ji was shot in his shop,
yes,
who was a great help to people in medicines. Then you saw also the leader, a Muslim man who was chairman of the buses Federation of Bandipur. He was shot. Then an ordinary fellow who was selling golgappas,
yes,
was shot. And today you see 2 teachers, innocent teachers. One is a wife of a bank manager,
yes,
innocent Sardarji, innocent Pandit who teaches our children.
yeah.
I mean, what is this? Are we going back to 96 or 95, 94, 91? What are we going to? When they say that 370 has been removed, everything is honky-dory. Is it honky-dory?
Yeah.
I want to ask, Home Minister.
No,
What is happening?
That's the thing, Farooq Saab, which is so shocking, because that's what I wanted to ask you, that to your recollection, this kind of targeting of people like school teachers and all that has not happened since the 90s, right? I mean,
Yes, this is the tragedy. Why is it happening now? Why? This is worrying for all of us. I have friends here in minority community who are very scared, and also political leaders of all parties today are scared that soon they'll be targets. So when is it going to end?
right. When you say that,
I think Srinivasan, for God's sake,
yes,
let India wake up.
yes. So, of course, we're all trying to
High time.
understand, we're trying to seek answers from the government, from the police. The police is saying that this could be the work of some kind of group which is supposed to be a splinter group of the Lashkar-e-Toiba resistance front, and the sort of attempt seems to be, Farooq Saab, to try and divide, to try and drive a wedge in the valley between the Muslims and the non-Muslims. This is what the police are saying.
You see, it is not only here, Srinivasan, it is in the country that they are dividing people, and that is affecting here also now. It is the entire country which is now facing this challenge. And let me tell you, Srinivasan, it's not in our country alone. It's also around the world now. People in Britain, the Labour Party leader called me and said to me that even in Britain, United Kingdom, now this disease is spreading at a rapid rate. When is it going to stop?
So, you know, I saw that you had gone to meet the family of Bindru Saab yesterday, and I saw an interview of his son. I had, of course, interviewed his daughter, but I saw an interview of his son. He was saying that one of the reasons this could be happening is because of this fear that there is going to be demographic change in the valley, and that's provoking the extremists to react in this terrible way.
See, this is the thing, Srinivasan. This is what is frightening people. But why is this happening? Why? Why is Delhi silent on it? Why are they not realizing that India is unity in diversity? It is a diversity which we have to protect.
So you're saying that these killings, and you know, it's particularly tragic today, because today you've seen a school principal and a school teacher, Supinder Kaur, school principal, possibly a Sikh lady, Deepak Chand, school teacher, possibly a Hindu.
Yes.
Yes. You know, you're saying that this is something that runs counter to the claims by the government that after 370 was abrogated, there's going to be no terrorism is going to come down, the violence is going to stop.
Well, you imagine, you see yourself. Has it come down or is it going up? That is the point. I think they are telling us something which is completely wrong. It's going up. And people are frightened.
And that's what I want to ask you. You said that the people you know, your friends in the valley who are from the minority community, pundits and others, they are fearful now because of this?
Yes, very much so. Very much.
Okay.
I think time has come when Prime Minister must come here and reassure the people of this state that you'll be safe, we'll protect you. Time has come.
And has the time also come, Farooq Saab, I want to ask you in the end, because the last time you all met him, there was this big meeting in Delhi, there was talk that now we would see the restoration of a political process, elections and all of that. What happened to all that? And is that
Nothing.
important? Is that
even the innocent leaders of the political parties who were arrested, they said they will release them. Nothing has happened in that direction. Nothing has happened in restoring the statehood of the state. Nothing.
okay?
Only photo shoots are here. So and so is opening this, so and so is opening that.
Right. Are you planning to raise this at all with either with the Lieutenant Governor or with New Delhi?
Tell me, Srinivasan, we raised with the highest, the Prime Minister himself.
Right.
Nothing happened. Do
Okay.
you think we have any hope in anywhere else now?
Okay. Well, extremely unfortunate and worrying. Let's hope that.
Pray.
Yeah.
I would ask India to pray for all people and particularly for peace in this
Right.
land.
Indeed.
Please pray.
Indeed, we must
Very,
pray.
very important days of Navratra are here.
Yes.
And in these Navratra days, I wish they will pray for the peace in the whole country. Whole
Okay.
country.
We-
Even the farmers that
Right.
have gone through tragedies. Please pray.
Peace is crucial. Thank you very much indeed, Farooq Saab, for talking to us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Srinivasan. Thank you.
Okay, let me also go across to SP Vaid. He's been former Director General of Police of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you so much, Vaid Saab, for joining me. Let me just start by asking you the same question that I began my interview of Dr. Farooq Abdullah, that do you recall ever seeing anything like this in recent memory?
Yes, as young SP in Kashmir Valley in 1990s, incidents like this, we did watch how agenda of the ISI went ahead and purging of minorities from Kashmir by creating terror and scare in the people, eliminating civilians, bureaucrats, judges, newsroom people, media personnel. So civilian killing has been happening since then, but something it reminds of situation like 1990.
Okay, so again to you it brings back memories of that dark time. But what do you think is the reason, Vaid Saab, that we're seeing a repeat of that now? This kind of targeting of minorities particularly.
See, the reason could be fourfold. One, the radical Islamist agenda of the ISI and whoever is implementing on ground, whether it is ISIS or TRF or Lashkar or whoever.
Right.
But they are being done on the instructions of people sitting across, very clear, no doubt about it.
Right.
But the other things could be because people have been actually wrongly fed a narrative that Kashmir, the community structure is going to be changed.
Right. Demographic change.
Demographic change would take place. People, there would be influx of people coming from rest of India. Like you saw, a vendor from Bihar was targeted.
Yes.
So otherwise, that poor man has nothing to do with all this. He was only earning his livelihood.
Yes.
So these are with that intention. Then abrogation of Article 370, and then people from rest of country being allowed to buy land and set up industry and business and all that.
Right.
So a very clear message that you cannot do that. Another thing could
yes.
because under the Prime Minister's package, the vacancies falling short in Kashmir, belonging to minority community, a lot of recruitment was taken under the PM package, and young boys from minority community like Kashmiri Pandits and Sikhs were appointed against these vacancies.
Right.
So it could be a message to them also. So the
So it could be many factors, but
Yes.
What do you make of those who are questioning? I mean, we are even hearing voices of the minority community in Kashmir speaking up now, because the government is issuing advisories saying, you know, shut down your shops early, don't venture out. And they're asking, saying, you told us that Article 370 will be abrogated, now there'll be no violence and there'll be greater protection for everyone. And those claims are now looking hollow.
Srinivasan, let me make things very, very clear here, very forthrightly. See, just abrogation of Article 370 does not ensure terrorism, check on the terrorism. You need to dismantle the ecosystem which still exists in Kashmir. You saw what President of France, Mr. Macron, did. How various steps were taken by government of France to check radicalization. Are we seeing there are hundreds of madrasas in Kashmir and thousands of them in the rest of India? Who is seeing what is being taught them? Are you preaching them a pure religion, or are you generating terrorists in these madrasas? Somebody needs to look into this aspect.
What about also the point that Farooq Abdullah was making, that if you're going to have a climate of anti-Muslim hate in the rest of the country, every day we hear of bigoted statements being made by high government functionaries. We see targeted attacks on minorities all the time these days. That if you're going to have that in the rest of the country, there will be a resonance, or there will be an impact of that in Kashmir.
I completely agree with Dr. Farooq on this issue. India is a composite country, and if a particular community is targeted, or a minority, for example, Muslims, let's say very frankly, now such incidents are exploited by ISI and repeatedly put through social media, bombarded on the young minds of Kashmiri boys. And that has an impact on Kashmiri boys. Taking up guns, taking up radical steps. So we have to be very watchful of. After all, India is a composite culture.
Yeah. Okay. That's important, that as you say, that one has to maintain the communal temperature across the country. You can't just try to do it in an isolated way. But thank you, Vaid Saab, for joining us. Your insights are valuable as always. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, let me move on to my final guest, Dr. Upendra Kaul. He is a very well-known cardiologist, currently chairman of the Batra Heart Center in Delhi, but he is got a deep connection to Kashmir. He's a Kashmiri Pandit, as it also happens, and is in the valley a lot. Dr. Kaul, I just want to ask you that what do you make of these kinds of attacks? And I know, full disclaimer, Dr. Kaul is a very dear friend. I know how much time you spend in the valley. Does any of this make you apprehensive at all about?
Well, Vasu.
Yes.
You know that I am a doctor, I am a healer, and I am respected a lot by Kashmiris.
Yes.
All communities, and this kind of dastardly killing has really shocked me. To a healer, it's a shocking.
Yeah, because even Bindru Saab was like you. He was a healer. He was loved by all.
Yeah, but at the same time, let me tell you that I have been getting so many phone calls, and I know that people are horrified of these killings there. It also means that 2 or 3 persons, different, bent of mind, can create such a bad situation in the valley, and this is exploited. Well, as a Kashmiri Pandit, I would say that many of the Pandits who were thinking of going back and other things will really once again think 100 times, because when this happens. But at the same time, I would say that the people of Kashmir are totally against this. It was very clear this morning when the incident happened near Ika, which is inhabited by a lot of Sikhs and Muslims. All of them were there and, shocked at the incident. So I think the bottom line also is that we need to have some kind of, solution of the vexed problem.
Yeah, that's
that's
important.
Right.
It can't be in perpetual deep freeze. But what you told me is concerning. You said that a lot of Pandits who may have been thinking of going back at this time will hesitate. But also, is there a concern amongst the Pandits who are there are they thinking now, should we continue to be here, or maybe we need to move out?
Well, I think the next...
Are you hearing
next
any of that at all from...
Yes, in the next few days, maybe a week or so, would make things more clear. But at the same time, this situation is very different from 1990, when it was a kind of an atmosphere which was totally different than what it is now. And whosoever has stayed back there has got very friendly, hospitable,
links
and empathetic neighbors and links, and I'm sure they will try their best to keep them there,
right,
rather than allowing them to go and getting scared. So I think that is a positive thing.
Okay,
But
will you
Yes.
will you go back to Kashmir, to Srinagar?
Obviously, of course, I'll go to Kashmir, and I'm not deterred by these things. I've seen such a thing. Yeah. Well, one has to be little careful, but at the same time, I have no hesitation in going to Srinagar, and I have stakes there, clinic there. People are ringing me every day. When are you coming? How many days are you spending? So that part, I think, cannot be given up by me at least.
Okay, but so you'll go back, but you will be careful. You will take care. I mean, it's because it's not good. It's not a good time. So
obviously, everybody likes his likes his life, and doesn't want to expose yourself to all these things. But at the same time, I think it is a situation which has been triggered by maybe a few people, a few small groups, and I don't think one should be deterred.
Right.
That one should not go, and that is, I think, we're making them succeed.
That's true, because if you look at the numbers, and we did a chart, so civilian killings have actually been down quite a lot. They spiked almost immediately after the abrogation. So sometime around September, October, there was a spike of killings, and these are monthly numbers, and then it came down, and then it's again just started to inch back towards the post-abrogation period. So what you're saying is true. It could just be isolated groups or individuals, and you can just, you kill 3 or 4 people. Every death is terrible, but in an overall, scheme of things, the numbers may not have to be large, but the impact is huge. So you kill someone like Dr. Bindru, Bindru Saab, and the reverberations of that are wide. So
yes. Yeah, I fully agree with you that the reverberations are very high, and one has to, take some measures to calm the heightened emotions of the Pandits. And, I think this is the time when it should become very clear that Kashmir is meant for everybody, and, the Kashmiriyat is there, and this is the time for everybody, especially the majority community, to come out and, solace the minorities.
Right.
It's very important.
And we actually saw that, especially at Bindru Saab's funeral.
Yes.
I think everybody came together. So let's pray for peace, and let's see what happens. But thank you so much indeed, Dr. Kaul, for joining us. And that's all the time we have on Reality Check. Thank you for watching. Good night.